Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hawks Latest, your number one source for news, updates, rumors, opinions, and you guessed it, the latest and the greatest regarding the Atlanta Hawks. I'm your host, Zach Langley, aka Langley ATL. Today, we've got a full slate of updates to cover. First, we're going to be looking at whether the Hawks can replicate or even surpass the Indiana Pacers' legendary playoff run last season. We all know it good and well. It's kind of fresh on our memories because the season really didn't end too long ago. But we are quickly approaching the new season, and the Hawks have gotten a lot of comparisons to that team. So we're going to break down both teams and why the Hawks are really similar to them. Then we're going to turn our attention to Kobe Buffkin, who is really stepping into a pivotal role as the team's backup point guard. There are several other options for Atlanta at the backup point guard that they could potentially go to, but if we're talking in terms of true position, Kobe Buffkin is right behind Trae Young in that. After that, we are going to spotlight number one overall pick from last year, Zachary Rizeshe, this dude who had a great rookie season, and he had a great Eurobasket, so we're going to break down his game completely. Then we're going to discuss and wrap up by exploring a potential veteran addition in Kevin Love, who may be hitting the market very soon. He's nearing a buyout with the Utah Jazz after the trade went through. So that is a potential option because Atlanta has two non-guaranteed deals on their roster. I don't want to spoil too much. I don't want to break that down too much until we get to it, until at the very end of the video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get things started and talk about how the Indiana Pacers stormed through the 2025 postseason in a remarkable way. I mean, it was one of the greatest runs in NBA history. If they had completed that Game 7, it would have been the best run ever. It was just held by Tyrese Halliburton, getting injured in Game 7, tearing his Achilles in the most brutal way possible. Indiana pulled off upset after upset after upset. They ultimately fell, falling just one win shy of the NBA championship, which was absolutely heartbreaking. If I was a Pacers fan, I don't even know what I would do in that situation. That is just very depressing. While the run was remarkable, what stood out even more was the style of play that Indiana embraced. It was a very team-first approach from all of their players. I mean, instead of relying on, one or two stars to dominate every single night, the Pacers succeeded by spreading the wealth. Halliburton's selfless play and the selfless play of all of the role players on that team, it unlocked a different teammate game after game, creating just a very rare brand of basketball that was not only effective but beautiful to watch. Rick Carlisle absolutely, made a system where, these guys seriously play selfless ball, it's where things get a little interesting from Atlanta because the Hawks roster construction is very similar to Indiana's in several key ways. So let's start with the engine, Trae Young. His passing production has climbed every single season, and while he is a lot more ball dominant than a guy like Tyrese Halliburton, which might not, it's not going to be difficult for Trae to have a similar season to Halliburton last year, but he's going to be a much more effective scorer throughout the season, so it's going to change things a little bit. It may even allow the Hawks to produce at a higher level just with a similar system to Indiana. Trae averaged 11 assists per game last season, so very good numbers. I'm expecting those to go up once again. Trae's career, his assist numbers have gone up every single season of his career, and he's entering year 8. I expect it to continue to climb now that he has the best team he's ever had around him. Like Halliburton, though, Young really sets the table for his teammates, and there's a very strong case to be made that he's among the very best playmakers in the league. I think right now, if we're talking about in terms of playmakers, I think it's a very clear top 3. I think it's Trae Young, Nikola Jokic, and Tyrese Halliburton. And then after that, you can start to look at guys like Luka Doncic and LeBron James and a few others. But I think it is a very clear 1, 2, 3. You can put them in really any order. I wouldn't be mad if you had Jokic or even Hallie before Trae, but I think Trae is the best in my personal opinion. Next, at the big man, Indiana had Miles Turner, who was a rim protector who could also stretch the floor, and Atlanta has someone very similar to that, but is also more effective. So Atlanta has the better point guard than Indiana, while they still play similarly, but also they have the better big man. Kristaps Porzingis is certainly a better big man than Miles Turner. If he stays healthy, his blend of rim protection and outside shooting, which is very elite, could be much more impactful in a system built around pace and spacing. I truly love Porzingis' fit here, and I'm glad that they pursued him this offseason. As soon as they saw kind of the success that these guards are having with stretch bigs. I mean, that's something that Trey hasn't had his whole career. He's never had a reliable stretch big, and you've seen in the minutes where when he's playing with even a power forward who is a great shooter. All of his assists go to them. I mean, he's someone who really benefits off of running the pick and pop, and him and Porzingis are going to be able to run that at a very high level. On the defensive side, Indiana lead on some of their role players like Aaron Nesmith, Andrew Nembhard to defend the perimeter, and Atlanta is going to be in a very similar position to do that. I mean, the Hawks have Dyson Daniels, who would be the best defender on the Indiana Pacers. They have Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who probably also would be the best perimeter defender on the Indiana Pacers. Those are two players who bring similar defensive versatility. Both of these guys can guard multiple positions, and that's going to be very effective in a system where, I mean, you're going to be having to guard some of the top, beasts of the Eastern Conference. And then also, Indiana's second best player, or even really their best player, was Pascal Siakam. It really just depended on the night. He has a real scoring punch, and he has some versatility. He's one of those forwards who can just do it all. And who does that sound like? Jalen Johnson. He may be even more dynamic than Siakam. Now, I think if you're basing it off of last year, Siakam's still the better player than Johnson. But with Siakam aging and Jalen getting closer to his prime, and if he just stays healthy, I think you can make a real argument for Jalen being even the better player. His athleticism is much better, but he's got great court vision and an improved jumper. It gives him all superstar potential if he continues to develop on the right trajectory. We don't know how exactly his trajectory is going to go, but if everything stays the course, Jalen is, this is someone who could be all NBA. I think the Hawks have a much better built team than the Pacers did last season, and they went to the NBA Finals. And the East is even more open than it was last season, so I don't think there's any reason that the Hawks can't replicate what the Pacers did last season. The similarities are striking, but as always, it's going to come down to coaching. I mean, Rick Carlisle is I guess, more of a proven winner in the NBA than Quinn Snyder, although they have similar offensive systems. He orchestrated Indiana's system perfectly last season, and for the Hawks, it will be up to Quinn to kind of take that leap as a leader and implement a team-first scheme that he has been trying to implement for the past few seasons, but it's been a little difficult because there have been, players in and out of their roles. Like, we saw DeJounte Murray. We had two ball-dominant point guards who also were poor defenders. That obviously was going to fail. But nonetheless, I think this is a team that Quinn's system can really work with, and it's probably the best team that Quinn Snyder has ever coached. If he can, the Hawks may not just be able to mimic Indiana's run. They could elevate it and maybe win an NBA championship. I'm not trying to, get too far in my predictions, but nonetheless, this is a better team than the Indiana Pacers on paper last season. So I think that they certainly can. So now let's shift gears to one of Atlanta's biggest question marks, and for good reason, the backup point guard position. So, for years, the Hawks have really struggled to find a reliable option behind Trae Young. Probably the most reliable option that Atlanta ever got behind Trae Young at that backup point guard position was Lou Williams, who was a former sixth man of the year, one of the best six man really ever, and he looked good behind Trae. When we have someone who can run the offense similarly to Trae when he goes to the floor, it works really well. And the Hawks may not have that this season, which is probably one of the major faults of the offseason, even though it's been a great offseason. The Hawks have tried several different approaches to this method, from the DeJounte Murray experiment, where he was another ball-dominant guard, and then after the starting lineup, after the first few minutes of the game, they would sub one of them out and then really just kind of alternate them. And so basically DeJounte kind of acted as a backup point guard even though he was starting at the two. It was a really weird experiment, and that didn't work. We kind of talked about that a minute ago, but nonetheless, guys like Kobe Buffkin, they've experimented with him, but the issue remains largely unresolved. They have had so many different backup point guards behind Trae Young in the era that he's been with Atlanta. Heading into the 2025 season, the Hawks' backup point guard position is really uncertain. There are several choices that the Hawks could go with, all of which would be, I would understand their reasoning behind. It really boils down to Kobe Buffkin and Vit Krejci, but also, we've got non-traditional backup point guards such as like guys like Luke Kennard or Nikhil Alexander-Walker, all of which are very capable of handling the ball. But it's just the high volume minutes at the backup one are a little uncertain. So I would say it's probably between Bufkin, Krejci, and Luke Kennard, because Kennard at least has a good bit of experience running the pick and roll in Memphis and, being a backup point guard in spot minutes. So the thing is, though, the issue with Bufkin isn't his talent, it's his availability and really what he's shown in that limited availability so far. He's only played 27 NBA games in 2 seasons, so mostly due to unfortunate injuries to several areas where it's not fun to get an injury to. And none of these are recurring issues, though, so this isn't something that he's continuously dealing with. It's not like Jalen Johnson and his shoulder. So they've slowed his development, and it's been not very much a great NBA career for Kobe Bufkin so far. When he's on the court, I mean, the flashes are there. Although it's really just the flashes. That's really it. I mean, his on-court consistency has not been there whatsoever. His shooting splits are really bad. His stats do not look good. The impact is there, though. I like what he brings defensively. I like what he's shown defensively in the limited NBA minutes that he's gotten. It's just that shot is really, really inconsistent, and, we don't have much more room for inconsistency, as I always say, behind a backcourt of Trae Young and Dyson Daniels. So, I mean, at Michigan, he showed two-way potential, defensive toughness, and an improved three-point shot. So, and he's got great size. I mean, standing 6'5", he has all the size and skill set to fit alongside Trae Young, also running the offense when needed, when Trae goes to the floor. So, on paper, Kobe Bufkin, the idea of him is great. He's just got to put it together and stay healthy and be there when the team needs him. I mean, the Hawks are taking a major risk by putting some trust into Kobe Bufkin this season. Whether he starts the season as Atlanta's backup point guard or not, this is a team with playoff ambitions. This is a team that is trying to make a run in the wide open Eastern Conference. And I know that they probably considered bringing in a backup point guard, a veteran backup point guard who can run the offense. I mean, there's guys like Russell Westbrook that are still available. And the Hawks haven't really, made any major advancements on bringing in any of these guys. I mean, I'm sure they've looked at them, though. And after Bufkin struggled in Summer League, it's kind of surprising that they didn't at least bring in some more insurance at someone who could, handle the ball in the second unit. But nonetheless, it could be a stumbling block if this is not handled correctly and Kobe Bufkin does not show any internal growth. If he stays healthy and grows into his role, though, he could be the solution Atlanta's been searching for a very long time. So we just got to hope that comes to the truth. So, I mean, the season's going to be pivotal for him. And, for the Hawks bench production, we need Kobe Bufkin to take a serious step up and become reliable. So next, let's talk about the newer kind of face of the franchise, Zachary Riezeshe. Before last season, he was drafted number 1 overall, and he was a very non-traditional number 1 overall pick. Came with a lot of criticism to the Hawks for selecting a guy whose peak is really just a really good role player at number 1 overall. But nonetheless, he looks like a great fit. He had an awesome rookie season. He probably should have won Rookie of the Year. He was a much more impactful rookie to winning than Stephon Castle last year, but they value more empty stats in the Rookie of the Year race, so that went to Castle. Zachary Riezeshe did not get it, but he made all-rookie first team. It was unanimous, and this is a guy who has had a very busy summer. He just finished up Eurobasket, and he looked really good, and now he's heading into his second season with the Atlanta Hawks, where he has more of a sure role than he's ever had. So, what's encouraging, though, is that Riezeshe showed more at Eurobasket than really just spot-up shooting, because that was really what he was limited to in his rookie season. Hawks fans went into it looking for real growth in certain areas, such as how he's able to handle the rock, how is he able to create his own shot, if he's put on an island, and if none of these other guys are open and Trae Young can't get him a good look in the corner, what can he do with the ball? I mean, France went into Eurobasket not having any of their major stars like Victor Wembanyama or Rudy Gobert, even guys like Evan Fournier, who are experienced vets with the French national team. Riezeshe was forced into a larger role, and he was probably he wasn't the number 1 option on France because of how the coach assigned the minutes. He really should have been, because anytime he was on the floor, he was very clearly the best player on the floor of a team that consisted of Bilal Coulibaly and Grosjean Yabusele, and I mean, Alex Sarr, who ended up getting hurt in Eurobasket, but nonetheless, Riza Shea looked a lot better than some of these guys. Yabusele had that one really good game, but nonetheless, he responded by averaging nearly 10 points a game on extremely efficient shooting splits. So he wasn't really scoring the ball, at a very high clip, but the efficiency was there, and that's great to see because of the role he was playing. He shot over 41% from deep, continuing a trend that started in the second half of his rookie season, where it all of a sudden just clicked. And he was able to, shoot the ball at a very high clip. His highlights were even more telling. He did have one play where he hit a step back three off of his own dribble, which was great to see. If he can unlock really that portion of his game, that is going to open up everything for Atlanta. If he can just start on ball creating at a better clip, that is going to be awesome. The defensive instincts were there all of Eurobasket too. He always looked like the best defender on the floor for France. He had several chase down blocks, and he had, it was very much a ball stopper. In the game against Slovenia and Luka Doncic, Luka was cooking. He was great, but in the very few matchups in the very few possessions when they would switch Riza Shea onto Doncic, he would most of the times get us stopped. The area scouts once questioned, such as his on-ball creation and defensive instincts. They're starting to really come to light. He was a great defender last season, and with his size and with his growth leap that has been rumored to happen this offseason, this is a different animal. Going into next season. So Riza Shea is not going to be asked to create in isolation every night in Atlanta, which is good. There's enough creators to really minimize this weakness. But playing alongside Trae Young and Dyson Daniels and Jalen Johnson, it's going to make his job much easier. He's going to get cleaner looks than he did in France, and even though he didn't get many clean looks in France, he still shot at a very efficient clip. Just showcasing the incredible shooter he is. So we're looking at a guy who can maybe shoot like 42% from deep next season. I would be willing to go ahead and make that claim. He's going to be a real weapon in Quinn Snyder's system and a key component to Atlanta's playoff aspirations. While he's not going to be a superstar, Riza Shea's development curve is now pointing upward in his trajectory. The sky's the limit for him. The Hawks should be excited about what he brings both now and in the future. So, finally, let's touch on a name who could soon become available. It's looking like he will be bought out and be available. Kevin Love. Now, we've talked about Love before, but according to very recent reports, and which is why we're bringing it up again, the Utah Jazz are going to buy out Love before the season begins. They had to wait until September 5th. It is now September 9th. This is someone who is going to become available very soon. Now, at 37 years old, Love is far from the player he once was in Cleveland. Very much not a very impactful player in the NBA anymore, but his strengths are still there, and he could offer some value as a veteran big man who doesn't play much. The Hawks currently have 2 non-guaranteed deals at the end of the roster, so they have 13 official roster spots. The deals of Caleb Houston and N'Faly Dante are non-guaranteed, so they can be changed any moment. If Love hits the market, as he's expected to, Atlanta could easily bring him on a minimum contract to provide some depth and leadership. I like the idea of it. This wouldn't be a splashy move. Love just had the worst season of his career. He was very non-effective in the minutes that he did play. He only played like 20 so games. So it would be a smart one, though, just considering the overall situation. Last season, the Hawks really struggled with front court depth. And this offseason, they've really prioritized and not ever having that problem again. If you add another semi-reliable rebounder and floor spacer, it would certainly help. You don't know what you're getting out of N'Faly Dante, and even if you keep him, Love can play the 4. The 4, and Love can. He can play the 5 in minutes that we need him to. He also has championship experience. And even in limited minutes, he could play a role similar to Larry Nance Jr. for Atlanta last year. I was really disappointed when Atlanta couldn't bring Nance back because this is someone who fit into the system perfectly. And I really liked his overall veteran leadership. And Love would be a very similar role and probably play less minutes than Nance even did when he was healthy last season. So, this is kind of a low-risk, high-reward option that makes a lot of sense for a team with postseason aspirations. You always want as many vets in the locker room as you can in a team that's mostly very young. Now you've brought in guys like Alexander Walker and Porzingis that add a little bit of a veteran presence, but bringing in a guy like Love who has won a championship and he would join Kristaps Porzingis as the 2 champions on the team. It would be beneficial, and I like the idea of it. So let me know what you think about that in the comments. So to recap today's video, the Hawks have the framework to kind of replicate Indiana's historic playoff run, and I think they will. But it'll take smart coaching and health to make that happen. 2 things that haven't always been there there for the Atlanta Hawks. Kobe Buffkin enters a very crucial season where he really needs to prove he can be a reliable backup point guard in the NBA, and this team has long searched for a backup point guard, so hopefully he can fit into that role. Zachary Rizichet is a prospect who is certainly ahead of schedule and looking to really improve next season. It's bringing optimism about his role in year 2. And finally, Kevin Love could provide the kind of veteran presence that every playoff team could benefit from. So the 2025-26 season is shaping up to be one of the most intriguing in Hawks history. This is the best team we've had in the Trae Young era. The roster is super talented, the comparisons are flattering, and the expectations are real. So that's going to do it for today's episode of Hawks Latest. If you guys enjoyed today's breakdown, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single update here on the channel. We're going to be pumping out videos every single day, keeping you guys informed on the latest and the greatest regarding the Atlanta Hawks. But once again, thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments, would you guys like to bring in Kevin Love? What are your thoughts on Zachary Rizichet heading into year 2? And how do you think the Hawks should approach this backup point guard situation? So thank you guys for watching. I'm Zach Langley, aka Langley ATL. I'll see you guys next time.